Hey students, Dr. Quinn here. I am going to spend a little time in this video to go over the narrative essay. So I'm going to click on the Moth link in the Moth's YouTube channel and kind of just give you a little bit of a tour there and then talk to you about the assignment to come. So the assignment says this: the major writing assignment for this module is this narrative essay, and it's like 750 words. So imagine it's like 2.5 to 3 pages. It's not a significantly long narrative, but it is a multi-paragraph essay. What we'll be doing is looking at this website called The Moth, which is all about the art of storytelling. And it provides us sort of information and insight on how to tell different stories that can attract and keep an audience's attention. Okay. And then, of course, they've got their corresponding YouTube channel, and you can see that I've got it opened here. And then, of course, we can take a look by just clicking on videos, and you can see all different sorts of storytellers telling their particular story with a series of vignettes. Vignettes just means little stories. Okay. According to the Moth, and I mean, there are different ways of writing, certainly, but we'll map our narrative to these major elements. And what is the stake? So stories are most compelling when the storyteller lets the audience know what's at stake for them in the story. If there's no complexity, if there's no problem, if there's no issue, if there's no goal that a writer's writing to, readers will probably be disinterested. Human life is messy, and there are often significant roadblocks or stakes that are in our way. When the reader knows what matters to the storyteller, perhaps if this is the writer's the first person in their family to get an associate's degree or something like that, then there's a little bit more connection between the reader and the writer. There's got to be some sort of change, like something has got to happen within the story. The protagonist changes their mind. There's an event that has changed their life for the worse or for the better for some significant reason, and we're building toward an understanding of what happened and what happens after. And of course, there's the theme of struggle, and I think I mentioned this in the prior video. Perhaps even the theme of sacrifice, right? The journey is often a significant theme that we find in student narratives. So the topic, what are you going to write about? Well, you get the chance to choose that, and we have some prompts that will help you get there. One of those is a time that you did something you never thought you would do. Like, who were you before? What built you up to making that decision? What happened in the event? And then how did it change you? So you can see the different movements within a narrative. And you're talking about times when your feelings about a person changed. Maybe you grew up seeing your grandparent in a particular light, and you had this deep and significant relationship with them. And then later on, as you got older, you learned something significant about their past that allowed you to reevaluate how you saw them, right? That gave you a deeper understanding of not just that person, but of how you want to relate with that person. Or a time you took a risk or didn't take the risk that everybody expected you to, or even a time when you tried to be something that you weren't, right? Just choose one of these. You don't want to have everything in the kitchen sink in this narrative. The story should focus on that one event that took place in a short period of time, but it doesn't mean it's only that event in the narrative. You could give us a little bit of background of who you were before the event, and then the repercussions of it, right? So we're playing with these ideas of stakes, change, and theme, and that's certainly something that you can reach out and talk to me about as you write it down a draft, as you brainstorm for this document, and so forth. Okay, your audience, your primary audience will be your classmates. Your secondary audience is me as your professor, right? You are welcome to use first person, like telling the story from your perspective. The I's, the we's, the me's, that's absolutely acceptable for a narrative essay, and it's encouraged, okay? Again, I mentioned earlier that it's 750 words. You'll start with an introduction paragraph. Don't let that go beyond a page. And as a matter of fact, you'll probably want your introduction paragraph to be half a page to 2/3 of a page at the most, because this is a short, less than 3-page essay. Think of essay development as like a sandwich, and the introduction and conclusion of the bread. But the body paragraphs are all of where the richest details are, where all of the movement, where the crux of the narrative happens, okay? You'll want to write multiple body paragraphs. Don't count them. You may have 5, you may have 6, you may have 4, who knows? A lot of it depends on if you have dialogue, you'd break your dialogue out, but if you don't, You may have some bigger paragraphs, but don't let any paragraph go longer than one full page. That can be overwhelming to read, and our eyes need those paragraph breaks. Conclude with sort of that food for thought. So what happens now that this event happened to you, or that this experience, you went through this experience? Did you learn anything from it? Your format and documentation should be MLA paper format. So if we click on the Nova's Online 111 Handbook, we've got this press book. You can open it, but you can also, and in this announcement, I would just say Purdue OWL that has general format for MLA, and I'll include this link. When you go to this page, not only does it have, like, it tells you generally like what font, what size, what edition of the MLA handbook, but there's a visual, so it will give you all of that information. And yes, Times New Roman 12 is perfect for me. And it will tell you your margins and everything in the formatting of the first page. What I like about Purdue OWL is that it will give you this visual of what the first page looks like. You'll notice no crazy extra spaces between paragraphs because they're already double spaced. Each paragraph is indented. At the top, the biographical information, MLA style, will be your name and then my name, and then the class, English 111, and then the date. You'll have a centered title, and you will put in page numbers and your last name in the running head. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, so imagine this is your document, and say your name is Jane Doe, and then Dr. Julie Quinn. Let's say Dr. Quinn. English 111, and say the date that you submit this, we'll just say June 14th, just to show you what it looks like. And then whatever your title is, and then your first paragraph won't be centered. You'll notice I'm on the Home tab in Word. I'm going to go over to the left-hand side. You can even start your first paragraph with just a tab, just to show you what this format looks like. I haven't put it in Times New Roman yet, but I'm showing you the visual bits and pieces that will format your narrative. To get those page numbers, it's actually super easy if you're in the desktop version of Word. It may be a little bit different with the online version. So go to YouTube and look up formatting online Microsoft 365 MLA paper, and you'll find a dozen different professors or tutors who have these videos based on all of the software that you've got and how to format this. If you're in a Google Docs or if you're in Pages, I'm not going to do all the formatting for all the different versions because I recommend Microsoft Word, and you must submit your documents as Word. And all the demos that I will do when I show you how to do like a works cited entry will be in Word. So that's where all my demos are going to be. And here's how you do it. You just click into the page header, and you'll notice the header and footer tools will magically appear in your toolbar. Go to page number on top of page and choose the third option. Now the page number will automatically update as you go, so you don't have to put it in manually. The last thing you want to do is add your last name, and the cursor will be in front of the number. So just type in your name and add a space. Once you've done that, you can double click and watch. Even if I insert a page break, now you'll notice how your last name will be imprinted on each page number, or where each page number is. The final thing is you can Control A to highlight everything, go back to your Home tab and choose Times New Roman. And that's it. So that's how you'll format your document in MLA style. Let's go back to our content and to the narrative essay overview. I don't think you're going to need sources, but if you choose to use sources for this essay, you have to document your sources. Like Smith says that, and then you need to have a works cited with Smith. If you need help on how to do this, you can go to the Purdue OWL link, and you can go to in-text citations, the basics. This is like TOC right here on the left-hand margin. And it will show you, well, how do you name a source in a text? Well, Smith stated that, or Wordsworth stated that. And then if you quote them, you can quote them. And if there's a page number, you provide it. So you just naming your source in the text is absolutely acceptable. When you name them as a major part of the sentence, you don't put their name in quotes. But if you only tack them on at the end, just to show where you got it, and you didn't name them in the sentence, you put them in parentheses. And if you have a page numbers, the end parentheses, and just like that. Okay? The other thing you can find here at Purdue OWL is you can go to Works Cited for Electronic Sources. This is going to give you a map of what do you collect and in what order. And it will give you sample. If you got something from a school website, if you got something from your favorite author's website, if you got something from an ebook, if you cited an image or an article in a magazine, and so on and so forth. you'll see all different options. And all I did was click on MLA electronic sources. The final thing you can do is you can use EasyBib to format a reference or to format a works cited entry for a source. But you don't need sources for this, so I'm not imagining I'm going to see any. But if you do, why not reach out and let me know? We can work on it before you submit it. Under the Module 2 Learning Materials, I want you to take a look at this. Let's open it in a new tab and see how it supports the narrative writing. So when we go into Module 2 Learning Materials, you just click on Content, and then you see this and you can expand it. Not only is there information on bias, which we've been talking about for the last couple of days, but there's elements of an essay, and then elements of storytelling, and then formatting required, just a little backup, and formatting in MLA style, where how do you, the order of pages, page numbers, margins, like all of this is just a resource for you. And then when you, let's not expand that, and let's look at the storytelling examples. So you can go back here and you can see Enrique's post about Tombstone Checkpoint. You can watch the videos. You can see the textual posts. They're not submitting their work in MLA style. They're not doing it for academic credit, but we can learn a lot by modeling and seeing other people tell stories. You don't have to start a story with, my story will be about. You could just start with the story. Look forward to seeing what you put together and being able to give you feedback as we go through the course. Now, remember, you're going to be doing some brainstorming. First, you're going to be doing some elements of an essay quiz. You'll notice that the brainstorming is June 1st, and then the first draft is not due until June 4th. You'll be peer reviewing at the same time with your classmates, and your final for this assignment's not due until actually the 10th. And then you'll talk about your process in this discussion. So that's the overview for the narrative. If you want to work with me, just send me an email and look forward to talking to you about it and seeing your work in the next few days.